Hey, like, share, and subscribe. So, on the Saturday episode of AEW Dynamite, Mr. Brodie Lee destroyed Cody to become the AEW TNT Champion. Bless your heart if you think this matters. Look, let's talk about this real quick. So, the match itself was essentially one-sided. I think Cody landed one kick. Then he absolutely got obliterated by Brodie Lee. A couple of power bombs, big discus clothesline. Cody never even got his weight belt off. They were going to do a better job, which is just Cody being melodramatic because he was not beaten that badly. And the Dork Order, defeated, just destroyed everybody. They Brodie Lee celebrated, and then the Dark Order attacked the Nightmare family, and they Anna Jay choked out Brandy. And they even beat up Arn Anderson, which I thought was interesting. That part was actually fun. But, you know, they beat up Dustin too. But, let's see, they try to make a big deal out of it. You know, they did their best. And, that was okay. The post-match stuff was okay. But here, let's just be honest, man. The Dark Order, the ship sailed on this shit a long time ago. Like, the ship sailed on the Dark Order months ago. It's August. The people were saying the Dark Order sucked in February. Guess what? It ain't changed. It has not changed. The Dark Order sucks. It sucks. And Brodie Lee actually is the most disappointing part of it because, again, that's like the previous videos I talk about Mia Carter's. Everybody kept telling me that Brodie Lee was so good. Everybody kept telling me that Brodie Lee was so great. Everybody kept telling me that Brodie Lee could have been the world champion. He could have been the future. Then he came to AEW and nada. And you know, the crazy thing is, I keep saying, and I need to stop taking these people so seriously because obviously they don't take themselves so seriously. But you know, the AEW fans who think like this episode of Dynamite was so amazing. You know, the Dark Order is so serious now. I'm like, what? The Dark Order just lost. On this same episode of Dynamite, the Dark Order got beat by the Elite. The numbered Dark Order guys. You know, the nondescript wallpaper guys. You know, the wallpaper. You know, it's impressive to maybe the first time you see it, but then you walk past it every day and you don't really notice it anymore. That's what these guys. You know, the Dark Order is just random fucking guys. Nondescript, no personality, nada, and none of them. None of them. Brodie Lee being the champion, look, I guess you have to do something, but you know, they had, I guess, 8 or 9 weeks of Cody as the TNT champion, defending it against a bunch of different people, and he got destroyed by, you know, Brodie Lee, and you know, they're probably gonna do a rematch at the pay-per-view, which is fine and everything. But let's be honest, man, this doesn't make the Dark Order legit. You know, it doesn't make the Dark Order matter. They've done stuff like this with the Dark Order before. You know, the Dark Order beats up everybody. And people shit on it every time. Because people don't like the fucking Dark Order. But for some reason now, I'm supposed to like them now? No, I don't like the Dark Order. I don't like Mr. Brodie Lee. I don't like it. I don't like it. Don't like it. I don't like it. I'm sorry. And if you think that him beating Cody is going to change that, no. No. His performance level is still the same. And he still, and for an exalted one, he has a weird inferiority complex, which is something like, you know, we need to talk about that. Like, you know, he has this idea that he's talking to Tony Schiavone, executives like you would never give me a chance. I'm like, what the fuck? You just wrestled Moxley and you lost. That's the one, like his record is like 10-1 or some shit, right? That one loss from Jon Moxley, a world title match that he got. What executives were holding him down? Now, I get it that he's a heel and heels lie. And heels exaggerate and they make shit up. Because they're supposed to be the hero of their own story. But an exalted one, somebody who's, I guess, supposed to be sort of a messianic character, sort of like a Seth Rollins, that's kind of how I envision an exalted one. For him to be like the Wednesday night Messiah. You know, for him to be almost like a preacher or something like that. And they kind of got that with the suit that not the suit, but not his regular attire. But when he comes to the ring and the jacket is real elaborate. And it kind of reminds me a little bit like he's going for a religious, like a religious idea. Like I could buy this guy as a fundamentalist, sort of radical, because he does have the crazy eyes and he has the big bushy beard, and it does look like he might be like a crazy hippie, or like he might run a death cult, which is, I guess that's what they're trying to be with the Dark Order. But if he's running a death cult or something like that, I think they need to make up their mind whether it's a religion or is it a gang or a business or something like that, because it's kind of like a loose association of business people who are focused on material success and not some sort of higher power. Like, he's supposed to be the higher power, right? He's supposed to be the Messiah. They've been talking for months and months and months about the Exalted One. He's supposed to be the Messiah, the one who delivers them to victory. And he's just now doing that after being on the roster for like 4 months. But, that Exalted One, he's supposed to be like the intermediary between them and their God. He's not supposed to be their God. He's supposed to be the intermediary between them and their God. He's supposed to be the prophet, right? The Prophet, the prophet. And that, from that perspective, he's supposed to be talking about things that are greater than, his petty inferiority complexes about being held down and being looked over. He's supposed to be like, I knew this would come. I knew this would happen. The world title wasn't for me. I was overstepping my bounds. I was, like the guy, what was the kid who, with the wax, Icarus, that with the wax wings flying too close to the sun. And, the true Exalted One, the Lord and Savior or whatever, melted my wings and I fell crashing down to the earth. And I had to learn that to not reach so high, or to climb different mountains. If you don't want to, say that the TNT title is just a mid-card belt, because Cody argues with people on TV, or not on TV. Probably will argue with you on TV too if you said it. But he said on Twitter, there's no such thing as a mid-card title. Fuck out of here. But if you want to just say that it's not a mid-card championship, you could just say that wasn't my mountain to climb, right? You could say that there are other mountains to climb. I tried to climb that mountain and it didn't work out. But that one wasn't for me. It was divine, outside of my control. That's why I lost. But then you could say this time, this was my mountain. This was my ministry. This was my opportunity. This was destined to happen. This was inevitable. And look how I destroyed Cody. No man could have stopped me today. This is not about just me. This is about the higher power, that dwells within me. That was the light that shined upon me, the blessings that are draped upon me. That if he'd have cut like that promo and would have had all of those people surrounding him, like with stars in their eyes, like, yes, that's absolutely right. Like, every match you lose is destined to happen. It's a learning experience. Because every time, the Messiah, every day that you think that God is coming back to collect you and he's not coming, it's just another day you have to be ready. You have to continue to be ready. You have to continue to work hard. You have to continue to strive. And then one day Jesus will return, or whatever, or whoever your guy will be will return. Or one day you will gain material success. If that's what he was trying to do as far as a cult is concerned, that would have been the promo that he would have cut. It would have had a religious undertone, but I have no idea what they're doing with the Dark Order other than we're losers and we're tired of being losers, or we're losers and we shouldn't be, but they still are. And it went from Brodie Lee being upset that they lose a lot to, I don't really think he even cares anymore. Like, he doesn't even, like, I think that after he abused one or two of the kids for losing, it didn't really happen again, because they lost earlier in that episode of Dynamite. He didn't discipline them. Like, you would think that and I would have done this. Like, if I was fantasy booking it, I would have had him go full blown cult leader, like they had to submit to crazy humiliations, like getting whipped in front of the world because they lost a match. You know, like you lost, now you have to take 10 lashes or something like that. And, you know, and you're going to take 10 lashes every time you lose. And that would have been the impetus to force people to pay attention to their matches and even to some degree begin to turn some of them babyface. Because people want to be like, oh my God, I'm tired of watching these guys get beat up and beat down and shit on. They need to, you know, I want to see them win so they won't get whipped. And I think that would have been sweet. Like when again, I'm a writer, and when I write characters, that's the type of stuff I think about. If you are a top level boss character, you know, especially if you are a narcissistic top level boss character, what happens with your underlings is reflected upon you. You know, if your underlings suck, then people tend to think that you suck. You know, like, you know, the Shredder has always sort of been defined by the Foot Clan. What kind of, because you're the one doing the recruiting, right? You're the one picking these guys, and you're the one putting your brand on them. So if the Foot Clan sucks, then the Shredder must suck. Because if these guys are just getting knocked around and knocked out, you trained them, you recruited them, so you must suck too. You know, that's kind of how, you know, villains and shit works. You know, if it's always been more badass when somebody's like a real badass, hard-ass villain, and then there's somebody above them. You know, like the Silver Surfer and Galactus, you know? Like, the Silver Surfer is a bad motherfucker, right? He can do just about anything with the power cosmic. But then there's a motherfucker who's above him who gives him orders, you know? Like, that's kind of what I want to see if you're going to do a messianic character on television, you know? But wrestling can't seem to do it right. Like, they're not doing it right in WWE either because all Murphy does is lose. You know, like, you have to do it a very specific way in order for it to be effective. You know, I think CM Punk was also, you know, pretty good at it, but it was, you know, he was a strong character, but hell, he even lost a lot, especially when he started fucking around with that Big Show stuff. But I'm way off the subject of Brodie Lee. I started ripping on messianic characters and shit like that. I'm sorry. Tell me what you think about Brodie Lee winning the AEW Championship. Do you even, not the AEW Championship, that's the wrong belt, the TNT Championship. Do you even care? See, the crazy thing is, man, I DVR'd the show and I fast forwarded through everything I didn't want to see, which was like 99% of the show. And it cut out right before they beat up Arn Anderson. So I ended up seeing that online. But the match itself was fine. I didn't mind what they did. I just think that they should have done it earlier, and maybe should have done it with Lance Archer. That's probably how it should have happened with Lance Archer. You know, better late than never. You know, but you know, like this video, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.